Hey, Joe Smiles here, personal trainer and rehab expert for the last 23 years, and I run an online course called Fat Loss S.O.S. If you tried all the diets and they don't work, give this a shot, help you to lose fat for good. Today I'm debunking a video by Jeremy Ethier. He's got 6 million followers on YouTube. This video is complete debacle, nonsensical nonsense. There's no evidence for what he says. He basically says that you need to move your body in a position that's in line with your muscle fibers, and he talks about how you do this with your rear delts and your bent and your chest muscles. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. Let's have a look at his video and see what he says.
3D look, but it is by far the most underdeveloped part of most people's shoulders, and I was no exception. My rear delts have always been trash. I'd spam them with dumbbell reverse flies and the reverse pec deck and couldn't figure out why they just wouldn't grow. Well, here's why. So we know that muscles are best grown if the arm path of the exercise matches the direction of the muscle's fibers. In the case of the rear delt, they run at about a 45-degree angle. This is why some people can end up building massive rear delts without even trying. They perform many of their rows with this 45-degree arm angle and end up growing the rear delts instead of other parts of their back. But this was never the case for me. So I needed an exercise that isolated my rear delts really well. What I found the most success with was using this 45-degree arm angle during the reverse cable fly, but with a few steps back from the cable to make it more difficult near the beginning of the exercise when the rear delts are more stretched. But you can apply this to the reverse pec deck as well. Move the seat up high, and instead of sitting right up against the pad, scoot your butt back and lean your chest into the pad. This way, your arm angle will now line up better with the rear delts. And if you don't have access to cables...
Okay, one reason he may be lacking his rear delts is because he's not on steroids, and he's just shown a picture of a guy doing a row with the elbows with the arms abducted, and the guy in the video is on loads of steroids, and you have loads of androgen receptors in your delts and your rear delts, and a telltale sign if someone's on steroids is normally if they have huge rear delts in comparison to the rest of their proportion of their body. This is simply nonsensical way to train your rear delts, and that you have to be on a 45-degree position, or the arms have to be in a 45-degree position, and you have to move your body in a certain way. And he's saying that the rear delt fibers, the fibers of your delts, are in a 45-degree position. He also goes on to say this about the chest, so let me break down this nonsense. Muscle fibers are bundled together, and when you get bundles of muscle fibers, they're called fascicles, and the connective tissue around the bundles of fascicles are called perimysium, and fibers contract in a certain way of the range of motion of the joint. So the fascicles have certain movements. You have fusiform type movement, where you have fascicles that run in line with the tendon, so the bicep fascicles run parallel to the tendons here and the tendon here. You also have convergent fascicles. So with the chest, it's a fan-shaped movement, and the pectoralis major attaches to the medial half of the clavicle, of the sternal side of the clavicle, and then the sternum from rib 1 all the way to rib 7, the costal cartilages, and then it attaches to the lip on the bicipital groove here on the humerus. And the upper pec fibers run horizontally, the middle fibers run obliquely upwards and downwards, and the lower fibers run vertically up here, because the pec comes all the way down here and also to the joints of the aponeurosis of the obliques. So the bench press, actually, when your arm is out like this, works all 3 parts of your chest, lower, middle and upper. It doesn't matter about the alignment of the fibers whatsoever. You just simply don't need to move your body in a certain position in order to hit one of the fibers. You just have to position the arm in a slightly different position. But you'll still work all the fibers. No matter if you put an incline, you'll just stress the upper fibers a bit more. Now, coming to the shoulder muscles attach to the lateral half of the collarbone here, the acromion here, and the spine of the scapula, all this here, where the rear delt attaches to, and then it comes down and it's a pennate. It's classed as a multi-pennate muscle because the fibres of your delts look like feathers, and that's why it's classed as a multi-pennate. And they join to this tuberosity here, the deltoid tuberosity, this lumpy part here. So the anterior fascicles of the muscle fibres of the shoulder internally rotate the arm, and they also flex the arm. The middle fibres duct the arm, but the first 15 degrees is abduction of the supraspinatus, which is the one of the rotator cuff muscles inside here. And the posterior fascicles of the deltoid externally rotate the arm this way. So you can work them in this direction doing rows, or rows this way, and it also extends the arm this way, so it pulls the arm backwards. Lining the muscle fibres with an exercise makes no sense, because with an overhead press you get much more muscle development, overall muscle development of your shoulder, because it's a compound movement. And what you're doing is you're at the bottom position, you're internally rotated with the arm, and then you flex it, and as you start flexing, you're working the front deltoids, but then as you're flexing, the arm starts externally rotating, which works the posterior part of the fibers. And then as your arm comes out to the side, as you straighten the arm up, it starts working the middle fibers of the shoulder, because you're abducting the arm away from the side of the body. And then as you get to the top, you've totally worked all three heads of the shoulders, especially the front and middle delts. So that has no relation. So as you can see, the fascicles have no relation to the positioning of the movement. They all contract together to move. A muscle moves a joint through its range of motion. So Jeremy actually supplies no evidence in his videos that the fascicles can change the way that the muscles contract. And for example, how would his hypothesis work when the upper fibers of your latissimus dorsi actually run horizontally, and the lower fibers of your latissimus dorsi that come all the way down here run vertically? So when you do like a lat pull down, involves this abduction down, some internal rotation, and bringing adducting the arm to the side of the body. What happens is you're still contracting the horizontal and vertical fibers of the latissimus dorsi. So to summarize, Jeremy just used progressive overload, going to 20 reps and then increasing the weight, and then going to 15 reps and then gradually going back up to 20 reps again. So you can't change the perimysium of the bundles of fascicles, and once they contract through the range of motion that the joint will allow them to. And the muscle fibers and the fascicles run in all different types of directions. Now he said that the rear delt fibers or fascicles run in a 45-degree angle. This isn't true. The rear delt muscles, because they come from the spine of the scapula all the way back here, and they actually run horizontally and transversely across here, and then when they converge with the middle fibers, they then run inferiorly down to the tubercle. Same with the front delts. They run laterally and then inferiorly downwards. They don't run at 45 degrees. That's why we don't have rear delts that come from all the way back here, down in a line, all the way to here. They stick out because they come horizontally and transversely this way, and then once they join onto the medial delts, they then run inferiorly. So fusiform, straight line fascicles. You have pennate, which is the shoulder. The shoulder is a multi-pennate. To summarize, you have uni-pennate, bipennate, and multi-pennate. Rear delts fibers are not angled at 45 degrees, therefore you don't need to angle your body or your arms at 45 degrees, because the delts don't run at 45 degrees, they run horizontally. Okay, I hope you found this information helpful to try and to link anatomy and the actions of fascicles and muscle fibres to how you would train your delts. You would just bend over and train them this way, or do rows this way, or bend over and do rear flies like this, because they run transversely this way. Subscribe to my channel, like the video, make as many comments as you want, and stop following social media fitness influencers that don't know what they're talking about.